created everything. Look what a powerful being you are. You did these things, but now you're in a human body, you forget the power you have.
Welcome to Metamystics, where you don't know what you don't know. My name's Jonathan, and today is Wonder Wiz Day for the live show. And you know, for the live shows, we always like to get a little extra crazy, and tonight is going to be no different. Today we have Vince from the UAP pod. I've been so excited for this conversation, but how are you doing today, sir?
I'm doing awesome, man. It's a good Wednesday and happy to end the evening like this.
Oh yeah, dude. Yeah, it's always fun to do the live shows on a Wednesday.
It's hump day.
Something about hump day that just gets me going, you know? But that being said, yeah, if you don't mind, I would love to hear a little bit about your background and kind of what got you into this arena in the first place.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, always have been interested in, the UFO world of things, going back all the way to high school. Big X-Files guy, Doctor Who, things of that sort back in the day. And background wise, I think we'll probably get into this at some point, but right out of high school, joined the military, and signed up for psychological warfare. So I did that.
First of all, how does one sign up for psychological warfare? How do you even get into that?
So basically the backstory is, I scored really well on a test. It's called the ASVAB. And they were like, you could do whatever you want. And so, I was 17 at the time, and I was like, well, I want to do something cool. I don't want to be something stupid. And they, listed this off, and they're like, what about psychological warfare? And I was like, all right, that sounds cool. So, had to do training at like John F. Kennedy School, Special Warfare in Monterey, California. I was all over the place, Fort Bragg, Avery, Wisconsin, doing a lot of training for it. And then shipped off over to Iraq and Baghdad. I was there in 2004 and 2005.
Wow, that is awesome. Like psychological warfare, of course it exists, and I feel like we see it all over TV and
I can pick it out.
Media.
Oh yeah. I can pick it out like that.
What is one of the main giveaways that is so obvious to you whenever you see psychological warfare somewhere?
In the media, they all say the same thing, like literally scripted to the T. Like if you looked at, even Fox News, CNN, even your local news, they will be scripted. They'll say the exact same thing. That's a 100% giveaway of they want to shape some sort of narrative in your head.
Man, yeah, it is crazy. It's the all of the Mockingbird stuff.
The Mockingbird stuff. Anything that's usually pretty fear-based or division-based is usually a psyop as well. They want people to be kind of brought into their own tribes, so to speak, and propaganda will do that. If you look even at our TV commercials, most of them are fear-based. It's like, oh, you have this rash? Well, you need this medicine because if you don't, you're going to die. But here's the side effects anyways, you're going to have one leg taken off and miss a kidney and get hit by a bus. And,
Yeah, it's like the only happy commercials are the commercials with gay couples doing AIDS stuff. It's like
right.
the only happiness is whenever people have AIDS. It's just so strange. But,
yeah, right.
But yeah, it is crazy with all the psychological warfare. And I wonder, how long do you think that's been going on? In this country, at least, does it date back to the 70s, the 60s, the 50s, or even before that?
I mean, definitely World War I and II for sure. I mean, the Nazis were absolute professionals at psyop. To their own people, their own population, foreign governments, things of that sort. But yeah, definitely World War I, II. Vietnam War. I was trained by guys that were in that. Gulf War. Yeah.
Man, it's just so crazy. And you can So I'm a hypnotist. I do the past life regression stuff by Dolores
Oh,
Cannon, if you
nice.
ever heard of her.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
And one of the main things that a practitioner needs to learn is NLP, which is neuro linguistic programming.
Hmm.
Because whenever you're doing it, you're trying to do your very best not to suggest anything, because now you're building an image in their mind, and that's not the
That
point. The
makes
point
sense.
the
Yeah.
point is for them to discover it. But you almost have to like lead them somewhere and
Hmm.
without being pushy. So it's kind of like let me walk with you, and it's strange, but
Hmm.
learning about neurolinguistic programming, learning about all the different ways about like how a mind ticks, especially whenever it's in a trance state. And
Yeah.
I feel like like at least for me, I'm so far removed from cheering on any side of politics.
Oh,
I'm
dude, me
like,
too.
dude, you can
Yeah.
just see the tribes that form, and you're like, are your thoughts even your own? Like, you're
Yeah.
literally only repeating everything that your news channel told you.
Yeah.
Like, you don't
Yeah.
have any original thought.
I always tell people I'm Ron Swanson from Parks and Recreation.
Hell yeah, dude, I'll throw down some bacon with you. Um, so yeah, that's crazy psychological warfare. But
Yeah.
so you had how long were you in that like is that a program within the military?
2004 to 2011.
Oh, quite some time.
Yeah. Yeah.
Did you ever hear anything about aliens with the psychological warfare?
No, I did not. However, I am an experiencer from something that happened to me in Iraq that I have talked about multiple times.
Wow, I would love to hear about it.
Yeah, we could, I mean, we could certainly get into it. So this is, this is something that like, experiencers have their experience, and so many of them never talk about it. I mean, they could suppress it for decades, right? Um, it wasn't until this past August where, in my own backyard here in St. Louis, I started seeing orbs again. Um, I got them on film. You can go to my Instagram. You can see them. They're pretty magnificent, and I think it was more of like a push for me to um, be more myself and talk about what happened to me in 2004. Um, so when I was in Baghdad, um, I was 18 years old, right? So fresh behind the ears, right? And when I got there in August of 2004, this was the end of the first rotation, so there was already a psychological warfare team there that was going to brief us and tell us what they were doing and things of that sort. So we got our room assignments and what their mission was and all that kind of stuff. Um, Fast forward to like September, October timeframe. Our headquarters are what's called a TOC, a Tactical Operations Center. Um, Always had to have someone there on what's called night guard, right? Or fire watch. There's always some, you never leave anything just unattended. And so we had a rotation, and I was there in, just passing the time in the middle of the night. I would shoot hoops, drink coffee, listen to music, skateboard up and down the halls, that kind of stuff. And a lot of times I would just go outside, open the door. Baghdad at that time, at night, there was really no light pollution because there was no electricity. Any electricity that was used, it was going to be used during the day for air conditioning and things like that at the
So you
time.
could see just about every star in the
You
sky
could see
then.
everything. You could see everything. Pretty cool, crisp nights, but you would hear often gunfire in the background, small explosions, airplanes, helicopters. Those were all very familiar sounds that I would hear often. My talk had a helicopter pad pretty close to it, anyways. Um, so I'm sitting outside and I see what I think is like a star or an airplane at the time. I just thought it was an airplane, but it got closer and brighter, and I was like, "It's not an airplane." And I was like, it's not a helicopter. I don't hear the rotor, the thump 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 thump. You don't hear any of that." And it got like closer and closer and closer. Bluish white, magnificent, just orb that comes larger, not as large as the moon, but more so defined. You're like, this is here. Um, And again, this was like late September, early October. And what happened was like telepathically in my heart and mind, this orb just basically said, no harm will come of you while you're here.
Really?
Yeah.
Like it was just a telepathic message. And
Nothing.
I'm always curious
Yeah.
about how people are interpreting that information whenever they receive some kind of download or a
Yeah.
telepathic message. Does it sound like
It
because
sounds like my own voice.
okay.
Like, you know, it's like your own voice, but you know it's distinctly said to you. Like you're like you feel it. Like I don't know how to explain it. It's like when I see even an orb in my own backyard. I don't know how to explain it to people, the feeling that I have when one comes across my own backyard, you know? But yeah, it said, you know, no harm will come of you while you're here.
Wow.
And I actually have written a whole document about all the things that I went through. I was at the Sheraton Hotel. That's where a lot of media was in Baghdad. It was in the green zone. You can look this up on Google. You know, CNN was there and Fox News and Al Jazeera and all these kinds of places. And we went there just to there's a Chinese food restaurant at the top of this hotel. You know, sometimes when you're in combat, you want to get some good Chinese.
Hell yeah.
So we went in there, but that hotel got rocketed. And we were in the main lobby at that time, but we went up to the Chinese food restaurant, and maybe 10 minutes right after that, those rockets went into the main lobby where I was. You know, I was hit by a roadside bomb, gunfire, rockets, mortars. My very first night there, we got just mortared the shit out of us, and I was terrified. You know, I was like so scared, which is actually kind of like a preface to this night, because that night, I was just like, God, if I'm going to get through this, it's got to be you, because it's not going to be me. You know, I was like, what am I even doing here? This is ridiculous. I was 18. Like I'm from St. Louis. There's some crazy shit that happens here, but it's not Iraq, you know?
Yeah, right.
So this event that happened to me, proved to be true. Like I had so many things that should have happened to me. I had a lot of guilt of things that happened to other people that I'm like, why didn't it happen to me? But I didn't tell this story for 20 years. I never told my wife. I never told my kids. I never told my therapists. I never told anyone, up until recently,
Oh man.
where this story has come out. And then I just think that this past August was kind of like a push by whatever they are. You know, like some people would call them angels. Some people would call them star family. Some people would just call them interdimensional, whatever. I have no idea. I don't put a tag on what they are.
They
All I
probably,
do know,
the way I see it is they probably don't
Yeah.
care. Like,
Right.
if I'm looking down at an ant, I don't care if it refers to me as a human or a, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah,
who cares?
exactly.
You know?
Yeah. So yeah, you know, I just been telling that story. It's something that's super, super cool, but I just didn't say anything for a really long time. I definitely wasn't going to say it when I was in the military. For 100% was never even going to bring it up, and never really brought it up to any family. Never brought it up. What I really kind of associated it with was more of divine, because when I got done with the military, I did pursue ministry. Like that was my whole thing. Like I was like, all right, if I went through that whole entire experience unscathed, that had to have been God, right? My only context is, you know, more of the Christian background. So I went to seminary at Covenant Seminary here in St. Louis. I got my master's in theology, philosophy, became a pastor. I planted 2 churches. It was my thing for a really long time. And I would talk to people in sermons, you know, in the congregation. I would talk about Iraq all the time, about like all the stories and things that would happen to me, but I would always put it in the context of, you know, a biblical narrative. I would never say that an orb came and talked to me.
Yeah. Oh, okay. So to them, you're like, all right, this angel, I guess it was
Not,
an angel.
I never even mentioned I never mentioned it at all. Not like an angel or anything. I just said I was protected, you know, like kind of thing.
Oh, wow. Why did
Yeah.
you feel so like, all right, initially, obviously I understand why maybe you wouldn't want to say something like that in the
Yeah.
military. Did you ever talk to anybody in your platoon or anything like that about
Never.
it?
Nope.
Really? And
Never.
nobody else
This-
nobody else said anything about it either.
No, so that was one thing too when I wrote about this. I can share it with you. I was like, somebody had to have seen it because I was outside. I mean, it was like 2 a.m., right? I mean, it was the middle of the night. I had AI help me with like that exact time. What did the stars look like in the sky? What was the moon phase? All those kinds of things. Because that was helpful for me too, just to kind of understand like clear skies. It got to date back all the way to that time frame. I mean, there was hardly ever any. We're in Baghdad in the desert. The only storms you're going to get is a dust storm, and those are usually during the day. But yeah, I never said anything. And again, I think it was always something that was with me. It was always there. And then this past August, so it hasn't even been a year yet, where this started occurring with me again. And it was more like I actually feel like it's more you will talk about this and I don't have a choice.
Right.
That's kind of what I
Yeah.
feel like. Yeah.
Yeah, I could imagine. And holding that
Yeah.
in for so long, did you almost feel like you didn't want to talk about it because even you didn't know like what compartment of your mind to put it
Yeah, I
in?
mean, a lot of times at the beginning for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, I imagine
Yep.
that's probably the case with a
Yeah.
lot of people who are witnessing this kind of stuff.
Yeah. A crazy thing too, when I was in the military in Iraq, everybody got like we lived in trailers over there. Just think of a trailer. It's like what it was. But usually it was you and a bunkmate, right? Well, when we first got there in the first night, and again, for whatever reason, I don't know why this happened to me, but I just went with it. Only NCOs, so non-commissioned officers and officers, get their own room. When I went to Iraq, I was in E4 at the time. And when I got my room assignments, I got my own trailer.
Oh,
And it stayed like that my whole entire time, the whole tour. Didn't live with anybody and pissed off a lot of people. And my commander was like, it's okay. And that actually gave me a lot of time to process, be by myself, be in my thoughts, kind of. I had this window, where I could lay my head on my bed and I could look out the window and just like view the stars and just kind of process things. But I had my own freaking room. When you're in the army and you're with a bunch of bros and dudes, and especially in special operations type stuff, you didn't really have space to like cry, and I wanted to, and I did because when things really hit the fan, because whenever you're on mission, I felt more comfortable on mission than I did in my own trailer, because you do get in your own thoughts and you start thinking about the what ifs and what happened if this happened, or what happens when I go out next. And so when you're out in the field, you're just kind of running through the motions and you don't think about those things. But when you're in your trailer, you're really thinking deep about what could have.
right, right. You're
And it
just
was,
there by
yeah,
yourself at that point
yeah,
and nothing but
yeah,
you, yourself, and yourself, you know?
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, dude, just out of curiosity, so you see this thing and you didn't see anybody else around that may have even witnessed
No,
it, but whenever you see it, I mean, and it comes down and you receive this telepathic message, do you continue to stare at it or does it float away
it
and go
it dissolves
somewhere?
away. Yeah, it dissolves away, and I just was like, okay. And every time, this was another thing too. Every time something did happen, I would get that reminder downloaded. No harm will come of you while you're here.
Whoa.
There is a point, dude. There is a point where I just started laughing. Like I was just like how, like how has nothing happened to me? There was a moment too, like we were outside, we were just outside of like I don't know where we went. We went to some place where like Kellogg, the food brand or whatever. One of our one of our buddies in our unit made friends with a contractor who worked for Kellogg. So we would always go over there and like get a bunch of free food that wasn't like crappy army stuff. And so we went over there and a rocket came into I was at Camp Victory. A rocket came in and literally just bounced right in front of us in the dirt. It was just like ting, 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 right? And we were all like standing, like looking around, like what the fuck, And then we all kind of noticed what happened. Then we all started running. But then that voice was like, look, no harm's going to come of you while you're here. And I was just like kind of laughing. I was just like, of course, like,
Oh
so
my
stuff, just
God.
crazy stuff like that. A rocket would have like torn us apart if it was that close. I mean, it would have been,
Oh,
it would have been tough.
100%. Yeah,
Yeah.
you would have been evaporated, I feel like, at
Yeah.
that point.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, it definitely seems like you were absolutely protected, and the message, the downloaded message, the telepathic message, it came true, and that's man. So, have you, just out of curiosity, have you
Yeah.
had any other kind of downloaded telepathic messages that are similar to that since then?
Nothing on that caliber. But I do have, kind of more into it. Freaks my wife out sometimes where like I'll have this intuition or I'll know something's going to happen or I'll know she'll say something or whatever. Or even just people. Yeah, it's just kind of something but I haven't like tried to fine tune it or anything. I just kind of go with
Right.
it. But I have, as of late, within like the last year and a half, 2 years, I stumbled across the Monroe Institute's Expand app. It's like a meditation app.
Yeah.
And freaking love it. If there's anybody on here that really wants to get into meditation, that is far beyond, the whole like mantra of Monroe is you are more than your physical body. And so got into all of those meditations. Just recently got the Gateway program online, which is freaking phenomenal. I wish I just had more time. Like, it's so in depth, and I work and I've got 5 kids and things like that. It's hard to get into the Gateway program, but it used to only be available at Monroe. Like, you had to go there, and it was like, I don't know, it's like thousands and thousands of dollars
Yeah.
to go. If you are interested, it's just a shameless plug. You
Please.
can go on my Instagram on UAP Pod. I started working with the Monroe Institute more as like kind of an affiliate. So they did give me a code where you can buy the Gateway experience online and just go through it at home, so you're not having to travel and spend thousands of dollars and take a week and a half off work or whatever.
Oh,
So you can
sick.
go there and get it. But that's really helped me to kind of explore that whole dynamic of who we are, the intuition, um, I haven't had an out of body experience yet that I know of, but like lucid dreaming, just that kind of stuff that I'm really interested in as well.
Oh, dude, it is phenomenal. We've
Yeah.
actually, I think when we first started the show, maybe in the first 100 episodes or so, we started diving super deep into the, Robert Monroe and
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
gateway process and that whole thing. We listened to, I think, probably bootleg version of the process, but
Yeah.
or the gateway tapes, right? And
Yeah.
so I think we listened to 2 or 3 of them. They're fucking long. They're like,
They are, dude.
it's like
Yeah.
a
45, 50, 60 minutes, 120 minutes. Some of them. Yeah. They're long.
I'm like, dude, I get all
Yeah.
I need out of like 17 minutes in a meditation personally.
Yeah.
But you do those, and I tell you what, you feel like something is actually going on, and it does
Oh, yeah.
play in your mind, especially if you do it like an hour or less, like before you go to sleep. That is some next level, like paranormal type shit
Oh,
you're
yeah.
able to experience. It is,
Oh, yeah.
it opens something up inside of you. And what I do love about it is the hemisync. And the idea behind the hemisync in the first place was there's a lot of people who are very left brained, and there's a lot of
Left
people
brain, right? Yeah. It just
who are,
messes that up.
yeah, there are a lot
Yeah.
of people who are very right brained, and I love both people. I think you need both kind of people. But I think that whenever a lot of people start diving into the spiritual stuff, they go all the way up into the clouds and they forget any logic that they ever had.
Yeah.
Right. And
Yep.
that's why I think it's so important to kind of interweave the two with the left brain and the right brain, which, that's why you have hemisync or what's the codes that, not the codes.
Oh, level 10, 12, that thing like that.
Yeah, stuff like that.
Yeah.
And all the different meditations you can do online, which are designed
Yeah.
to, spark your left and brain,
Yeah.
your left and right together. I
Yeah.
think that is going to be more important now than ever because, man, it's so crazy. Like, and I didn't know how prevalent. First of all, it's always been very prevalent, but especially within any kind of spiritual community, you can almost see that there's like little cults that are forming.
Oh
And
yeah. Yeah.
I'm waiting for somebody to start offering like discounted Kool-Aid at this point. But, and don't get me wrong, like,
Yeah.
I'm interested in what everybody has to say and what their experiences are
Yeah.
and everything. But I think that it's important to, not get too high, don't get too low. The middle
Yeah.
path is the right way.
Yeah. 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 My whole thing with meditation was just to help out with anxiety, like that was my main reason for doing it, and stumbled upon the Monroe Institute, and it's been a game changer for me. I really do love it. I put the hemisync on, when I'm out in the backyard and doing the CE5, and when the orbs show up.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I'm sure
Yeah.
the blades of grass are just starting to glow at that point. You get deep enough into that
Yeah.
meditation.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So all right, I want to read some of the messages here from some of the listeners.
Yeah.
We call them
Yeah.
the initiates. So the White Boy Wizard said, "What up, all you lovely MFers? My dude, I love you." Uh,
Mofo.
Timmy Tuto said, "Hello to all my spiritual family. If April showers bring Mayflowers, what does Mayflowers bring? Pilgrims." Oh, that was spirit animal. Okay.
I get it.
Of course, that's a spirit animal thing. Love you,
Yeah.
spirit animal. And I don't even think spirit animal's here anymore. Anyway, yeah, dude, it's awesome to see you guys here tonight. Thank you so much for joining for the live shows. It's always so much more fun the more people get involved with the show, and so it's really great. By the way, I do want to give another shout out. I did it on the episode yesterday, but since you're here, Timmy Two Toes, you are the best. Thank you so much for the Orgon Pyramid. It is a beautiful specimen. It is a beautiful piece of art, and I cannot wait to put it in my new studio once I move back to Louisiana. So I appreciate you. But anyhow, all right, let's get back to the nitty gritty over here. So you were in the military. You did like spec ops and all the different kind of mental stuff that was going on over there, which I love. I think that is probably the coolest part of. If I was ever going to join any kind of military, it would be something to do
was
with
something
that.
like I had best and worst times of my life.
yeah, that's what you hear, And then afterward, you decided to pursue being a pastor.
Mm-hmm.
And I was it because of that experience, or were there other things that happened in your life, or maybe nudges
No,
along the way?
it was definitely that experience was definitely a catalyst. Because I don't know if you ever heard of the saying "nobody's an atheist in a foxhole." You ever heard that before?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's true. And yeah, that was really my. I wanted to come home and just keep a life of service, I guess you could say. That's really who I am. Like, I love to serve people. I was also a teacher. I was a middle school science teacher for 5th and 6th grade.
Oh, cool.
So, pastor, teacher, psychological warfare, just a mixed bag of things.
Goes together like
and
peas
now,
and carrots.
Yeah. Now I'm in like, sales and marketing and a real estate investor. So it's just different worlds. But yeah, I got into ministry. Gosh, it was, I was out of PSYOP in 2009. So I was in for 6 years, and then they have 2 years of what's called the inactive ready reserve. It's called the IRR. So 2011 is when technically I was able to be released. But the IRR is like, instead of the draft, you've heard draft talk lately in the news.
Yeah, unfortunately.
Yeah. So the IRR is designed to keep the draft from happening. So they would pick from, if something were to go, to hell in a handbasket again, the IRR would come up first, because they're the most ready. They're the most, trained, and they have this 2-year gap where they weren't doing anything. So they call those people up, and then after that 2 years, you're gone. You're a civilian again. So in that midterm time, that's when I started going to a church and started volunteering, and then figured out how I could, pursue official, ordination and that kind of stuff. So got my undergraduate degree in ministry and leadership. And then I moved over to Covenant Seminary. And that's where I got my degree in theology.
Oh, man. So you're probably a lot more well-read than most other people whenever it is pertaining to the Bible, going to seminary and stuff like that, right?
Yeah, I mean that's definitely what I was trained on, and did sermons every week. Planted 2 churches, and yeah, I mean,
Interesting. And
yeah.
I'm really curious. What kind of pulled you away from that? Was it certain verses in the Bible, or certain answers that couldn't be, or certain
That
questions that couldn't be answered?
got me away from ministry.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it was twofold. One, I was tired. It's just tiring. The second one, um, during COVID, I went through a divorce at that time. Um, had 4 kids, pastor of a church, and you think your friends, and those that I thought would be absolutely supportive of me and love me in the church were like very judgmental, didn't come to my aid, blamed me for everything when it wasn't even me. It was my ex-wife that, you know, did something outside of our marriage. And that was kind of like eye-opening to me. And the people that did support me and love me and care for me and things like that were people that didn't go to church.
Isn't that
Um,
funny how that works?
and it was a very paradigm shifting kind of thing for me. Um, which I then was like, okay, so I closed the doors of my church in St. Louis City. So I had a more of like a city church, a part of like St. Louis University. I was a chaplain over there. What do they name a chaplain? Like I was a pastor for, some university students over there as well. So I closed all that, wrote a letter to everybody, just emailed it out, said, here's what I'm going through. A couple weeks we're going to be done. And told them all, here's some good churches that I would recommend. You guys can go to this, go here, go there. So really hard time for a lot of people. Just in all, try to go to like churches around the area in St. Louis, but I couldn't just be me. Like I couldn't just sit there and be me. Somebody come up and be like, bro, you got to do youth group over here. Or, hey man, like this summer I'm taking a sabbatical. You mind preaching for 5 weeks? And, I just leave me alone. And I couldn't do that. I couldn't go anywhere where, I just wanted to be me. And really found that once I kind of left, I don't feel like I've left Jesus, no, so to speak. The church just pissed me off. And I'm actually far more happier. I'm healthier. I'm more spiritual. I'm calmer. I have less anxiety. I mean, I make more money. I mean, you name it. Like it's net positive for me once I left.
That's awesome. Well, that's the most important thing,
Yeah.
And so what? I mean, you were going through that whole, hardship with the family and everything, and you were being judged because of the divorce. Like you're
Yeah.
not supposed to divorce, right? Is that what the judgment was about?
Yeah. I mean, yeah, part of it was that. And, I wasn't the man, right? Like I didn't take care of my wife good enough.
Oh
And
my.
yeah.
Yeah, it's there's a weird level of standard that you got to live up to with all that, I feel like.
Yeah. Yeah. And there's just some stupid things that you're just like, I think people just do it for the sake of like sacrament or, religiosity or, just like, we were at dinner today and we were kind of wondering like, why can Mormons not drink coffee, but they can drink soda? Like, and it has nothing to do with caffeine. It has to do with they can't drink hot drinks.
Oh, is
I
that
didn't
what
know
it
that.
is?
Yeah.
Huh.
So it has nothing to do with the caffeine. And I was like, well, what's the theological reason? It's just not a reason. It's just, will you obey the commandment not to drink hot drinks?
Okay. Yeah, that is really
So,
strange.
there's just things that I just don't understand when it comes to, standardized religion. And I'm happy where I'm at.
No, I totally get it. We
Yeah.
went down the rabbit hole of I did a couple of shows on my old conspiracy podcast about
Mhm.
I named them in order to get people to argue. I'm not gonna
Right.
lie. Like
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
on a conspiracy podcast, you're meant to be like
I call that putting a rock in someone's shoe.
essentially.
You can't ignore it. You got to go after it.
Yeah. So one of the episodes was the Nephilim were fake and gay. And
Oh, right.
and the other one was that the biblical flood never happened or something along those lines.
Yeah.
And it's so crazy because whenever you really start looking at some of the more intricate details and you're adding facets of the story and then you put it into real life context, a lot of it really it's almost illogical to believe it as the way the story is told.
Yeah, I mean, there's some stuff that's narrative. There's some things that you don't need to take literally, and all that kind of stuff. For absolutely.
Right. And that's kind of the enigma of the Bible in general, is that everybody believes that they got the right way to interpret it. And, and that's why there are how many different, religious church spinoffs.
So many, not only that, like different versions of the Bible. Like if you're not reading King James, you're a heathen. And, if you're reading the Message, you're gay, or, whatever the case might be. Like, it's so dumb.
Yeah, it's crazy too. And that's what I heard is that a lot of churches do prefer to use the King James version, right? Is that
I mean, true? That would be like your pretty traditional, like Southern Baptist kind of stuff. Yeah, they'd definitely be King James version. I just used English Standard, just the ESV. It's just kind of like pretty even keeled, like word for word translation of the Bible into English as best we could, kind of thing.
I always thought that it was damn near impossible to read that Shakespearean language. And
well, yeah, I mean the old King James especially. Yeah, but the new King James, it got a little bit easier, but old King James was redonk.
Thou shalt do all this and everything, which is funny because you look into the history of King James and you see that he was one that wrote demonology. He was essentially one of the main reasons why witches were being hung. And you look into all that, and then you find out, I don't know if this is for real or not, my conspiracy brain, it's a hard time to divide it, but I remember hearing that King James himself was a gay man. And
it's possible. You hear that all the time these days about big super mega church pastors.
Oh yeah. I mean, which, hey, I'm not judging, I'm just saying that goes against what.
But don't preach against it, and then behind the scenes,
rules for thee, not for me.
Have a side piece,
yeah. And then I remember hearing a quote. I don't know if this is 100%, but I'm just gonna throw it out there. That King James said, "Well, why are you judging me for being gay whenever your Savior was also?" And I'm like, all right. First of all, King James, calm down. You were you existed literally 1,500 years after the fact. How are you going to know one way or another? But yeah, it's man, it's all just so strange. I thought that it was a fun little nugget. I did not know that you were an ex-pastor before this podcast started. So that's cool.
Yeah, and don't get me wrong. Like I love the history of there is a lot of historical context in the Bible that is very fascinating, and it's real. It happened, a lot of stuff with the Israelites, stuff in Corinth, stuff in Thessalonica, stuff in, these are all things that are historical people, historical events, historical places. They're documented other places than just in the Bible, and that's cool to get into for sure.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, look, I'm just as fascinated at the Bible as I am most other, like symbolic texts and esoteric texts and all of that kind of stuff. Because if you look at it, I mean, how many different spin-offs of witchcraft were created because of the Bible, or you know what I mean? Like, if it wasn't for the Bible, the Satanic Bible would have never existed. It's like everything kind of spins off of it in a really strange way. And I think that it is, I think that it's been believed in for so long that even if none of the stories ever actually happened, I think egregorically it is understood within the minds of most people that like that's enough, and that's what powers it up in a way.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, my it was a good season of my life, and I learned a lot, and just moved on.
Heard that. Yeah. So all right. So I saw there was you have an Etsy, and I was like, I'm just curious. Let me go check out the Etsy shop. And I saw that you
Yeah.
had synchronicity journals, high strangeness logs, and UFO
Yeah.
sighting logs. And I'm like, what a great idea. I've been
Yeah.
trying to think of a way to like, man, if I would only just jot down all the synchronicities I had and then over the
Yeah.
course of a year look back at it and be like, how do I like, of course this place is magic. Look at all these synchronicities, you know?
Yeah. I was trying to find it. It's probably upstairs. Um, I don't see it on my table over there. Yeah. So this was I call it contact notes. So it's a journal of synchronicities, UFO sightings, and high strangeness. Because what does happen is we have something that happens to us, and we're like, "Wow, that's kind of weird. I'll remember that," and then we don't, right?
Yeah, it's
Or
very escaping.
yeah. So I came up with this journal because I really do. I wanted to write stuff down, especially when it comes to like the UFO sighting stuff, because one thing that I've recognized is patterns. Um, and a lot of experiencers will have patterns. And so when you notice, like, okay, I have this sighting, I always feel this, or I always hear this, or there's just different things that pop up, or the moon phase is like this, or oh, my wife heard my contact notes and was like brought it down to me. But yeah, there it is right there. So like the sightings log and stuff, like you can circle the moon phase, and you can do what was the weather like, what was the location, are there any nearby features like an airport or a military base, just things that people don't pay attention to. But if you log it and then you have one sighting and then you do it again and you're like, why do I keep having UFO sightings or orb sightings on a waxing crescent moon,
Oh,
you know
yeah.
or why at a certain time at night when I'm out does something happen? And so that's what I did. The synchronicities, um, for a really long time. I mean, it's been like 2.5, 3 years now. The number 444 is freaking bonkers for me. I mean, crazy. It's really um, it's a synchronicity. It's an angel number of protection and guidance, which follows my path.
Which would make sense.
Which makes sense. It's actually pretty crazy. I made a video about synchronicities on Instagram, and I actually noticed. I could send you this video at another time, but in this very office, I was talking about synchronicities, and I was like, I see the number 444 all the time, and an orb comes up from behind me that I couldn't see it like whenever it was just a normal speed video, but then I kind of noticed it coming behind me, and then you could literally tell it like comes behind me, and you could tell it's like see through and everything. It's pretty cool.
Oh
But it
my
happened the
God.
second, like literally on the second that I mentioned 444. Um,
Wow. What are the
I
odds?
know it's pretty crazy, but the synchronicity stuff, like it's not just numbers, but just like trying to figure out like when you do see something that means something to you, like an 1111 on the microwave or whatever, to really just stop and kind of intuitively try to listen, like, okay, what's the universe trying to say to me right now, or what's my higher self, or however you want to call it, trying to tell me right now, what should I be listening for or feeling? And
Back
that's
to
what
your
that log
stillness.
does. Yeah. High strangeness stuff, like um y- you know trying to think of an example that I've gone through, like a book being on my desk and opening up to a certain page that's like on my desk open, and I didn't do it, and getting led to like a particular passage in that book that is really resonating to me. you know
Yeah.
like why does things like that happen? So it's just a log, dude. It's a journal. Got a lot of people. It's given me a lot of feedback on it. I have the physical copies that usually I just have given out to people, like given out to UFO Girly,
Love her.
Corey Moo.
Yep.
So I've given them out because I know that they will use it and take and take a peek at it every now and then and kind of see any patterns and things like that. But what's on Etsy now is more the downloadable versions, until I can find a vendor that can produce these at pretty cheaply, because right now if someone were to like to buy the booklet that was really good quality and not like crappy paper, it would be like 25 bucks, which I think people would pay.
Sure.
I think they really would. I just haven't done it yet.
No, I feel
So,
that. No, I think it's a
yeah.
great idea because I'm always saying, and my ex co-host, my cousin Sean, we used to always say, man, there's so many synchronicities that happen to us that we just
Yeah.
forget about, and it would
Yeah.
be nice to be able to go back and maybe recall
Yeah.
some of them. It's almost
Yeah. I
like
mean, I
it's like
write in it
a
all the time, dude.
wow, yeah, you can get really
Yeah.
detailed up in there too.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, it's strange, man, because I think that there's probably a lot of people out there, myself included, where it's like a really synchronistic, special time in your life where the synchronicities are just firing on all cylinders.
Everywhere.
And you're
Yeah.
like, I'm in it, it's me, I'm it, and this is
Yeah.
beautiful, that whole kind of thing. But then you go down at like maybe you start getting a little sad or emotional,
Yeah.
or maybe you get depressed or you have anxiety or something like that, and you almost forget that excitement that you had with all
Yeah.
of those synchronicities a few weeks ago or a few months ago. And you almost like, dude, it goes beyond forgetting. It's like you don't believe that it happened sometimes.
Yeah.
And you're like, and so I feel like whenever you sit there and write it down, anybody that ever has kept like a dream journal or anything like that, you know damn well if you take the time to actually journal it down, the way that you interpreted it through your words, it's
Yeah.
like it's cemented in your brain the moment
Yeah.
you write it down, I feel like.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah.
There's something special
Yeah.
about that.
There's a, I mean, there's a synchronicity that happened. So Mindsight, I was really interested in it like this past summer because of the side games and things like that. I just saw people's Instagram, whatever. I was like, I should probably try that, you know? And then I went in and then I had ordered a mask. And then it didn't come at Amazon, just got lost somewhere. I was like, okay, maybe we shouldn't do it. But then there was just like all of these synchronicities would come up. That Dahlia Burgoyne or whatever her name is,
Love her.
from the side games. She's awesome. She was a big like conduit of me just watching her videos. Corey Moo started talking about it, and so I was seeing all these videos, and they would just show up in my feed all the time, and even just like random places. And then I was like, okay, I should probably do that. Didn't. Kept just ignoring it, right? And then some random dude on Instagram this past December, because this is when I started the Mindsight, messaged me and said, hey, have you seen this Mindsight thing? I'm like, he doesn't know what's going on. And I was like, all right, that's it. I give up. I'm gonna do it. I ordered the mask. I got some colored paper. I drew some shapes on some cards. And but as I've been doing Mindsight, there's some days where I feel like I'm doing pretty good. Like, if I have 10 colors in front of me, I feel like I could pick out 7 of them, and doing pretty well. And I started with like blue against every other color and got really good at blue. And then there's times where I feel like I just suck and I can't do it. And then I'll go back to the log and be like, okay, those synchronicities happen for a reason, for me to get into this. So keep doing it. Like, don't beat yourself up. You can't be perfect all the time, and just keep going,
Yeah, that's kind of the point, and just always like never forgetting how special you are as an individual. Like that's one thing that, because I think that there's maybe a lot of people out there that maybe listen to shows like mine or like yours or any other kind of spiritual kind of synchronistic podcast out there. And man, I'm not gonna lie, even my ex co-host, he would be like, I don't know. I mean, maybe I'm not the one that should be behind a microphone. Maybe and he would always question himself. And I'm like, dude, but think about all the synchronicities we've experienced. Like, think about all of the crazy shit that we've gone through and we've seen and done together. I was like, you were meant to do this. And, and he would always, be questioning it. And I think that it's just so easy to go back to that. It's almost like if you're at the bottom, like on the ground, there is no way to go but up. So you can't fall any farther. And so for a lot of people, I think that it's like a safety place.
Yeah. Yeah. It totally is. 100%. Yeah.
I
mean, it's like even with the, with the journal right here, like I often have kind of imposter syndrome of like, who am I to make a journal about, this kind of stuff? I'm not anybody. I'm not like some big time YouTube guy. This was just something that was on my heart. I wanted to do and give to people, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I'll tell you what, dude. I mean,
Yeah.
I've talked to a lot of people. I've been podcasting coming up on 6 years now. I've talked to a lot of different podcasters, a lot of different experiencers of different things.
Yeah.
And I mean, the more you find out, the longer you go. It's just like, dude, everybody's just a person. Like there is nobody that you should ever like.
Yeah. We all put our pants on the same way.
Exactly.
One leg at a time.
Yeah, there's no reason to
Yeah.
idolize anybody. It's just some people have genuinely curious questions about stuff, and it makes for a fun show.
Yeah.
Which leads me to the next thing that I wanted to get into.
Uh-oh.
I saw that you made a post on Instagram, and I was trying to maybe see where you come from. And this is something that a lot of people are split on whenever it comes to, aliens, UFOs, UAPs, and you put the 7 theories about where aliens come from.
Oh, yeah.
And I was like, all right, the classic one, the extraterrestrial, love it.
Yeah.
Of course. Yes.
Yeah.
Then there's the interdimensional beings, which are awesome. The always been here theory. And that's one that trips me up because I'm like, I think it's probably true in a way.
I mean, if especially with the ancient astronaut theory kind of deal about, it's very possible.
Yeah. So you have the ultra terrestrials and the crypto terrestrials. Are you grouping in like Bigfoot and stuff like that in there? Yeah. I've interviewed a guy, and maybe I can try and send him your way. I bet you'd be fascinated to talk to him.
I got a video about is Bigfoot an interdimensional being?
Dude, I got
before.
There was this guy that my back whenever I was living in Louisiana, he lived right down the road from me. His name is Scott Pace, and he believes that he goes out to this like national park or whatever in Louisiana called the Kisatchie National Forest or something along those lines. And he takes pictures, and he believes that literally a family of Bigfoots or Sasquatches are constantly going in and out of his house all the time. And every time he goes out, he hears like the big and the all the different things every time he goes camping or hunting or whatever.
Yeah, and it's near a national park.
It's in a national park.
Oh yeah. I mean, there's a new documentary. I haven't been able to watch it yet. It's called like American Bigfoot. It's brand new. Just came out like December. But it talks a lot about national parks and stuff. Ross Coulthard talked about portals being in national parks that he said he was briefed on, who knows.
I can see it. Yeah, I think that the world is probably it absolutely must be so much stranger than even people like us diving into these kind of topics, probably even stranger than we could imagine.
Yeah, I can't keep up. Like there's so many different things I want to talk about, and I just try to stay in my lane, but everything's so weird. Like
everything.
Yeah. Have you ever looked into like the amount of people that go missing in national parks and never found ever again?
The missing 411. Yeah, it's literally tens or hundreds of thousands of people a year that go missing.
Go into that conspiracy. Holy crap.
Unreal.
It's weird.
And it's been going on for forever. Like
the same guy who did missing 411s, the guy who did the American Bigfoot.
Oh, great.
The new documentary. Yeah. His name slipped in my mind.
That is, there's definitely something to be said for that. I don't think that there's that many people that are just going for a walk in the fucking woods and getting lost.
Slipping down a canyon. Yeah, right.
There's no way. And then, of course, you find out, like, do you remember how they used to have, like, little kids missing on the back of milk cartons?
White Boy Wizard, just do it in there. Yeah, David Pallades, that's who it is. Yeah.
Okay, sweet.
Plays. Yeah, say his name. Yeah.
But did you know that they never found a single kid on one of those missing milk carton labels? Never found a single one. It's like, why do you keep on doing it at that point?
Yeah.
It's not really helping anything. But I think that honestly, that was probably promoted to like push some kind of fear tactic. I'm you
sure,
could go missing too kind of situation.
Yeah. I was listening to Chris Ramsey's most recent Area 52 podcast. You know Chris Ramsey in Area 52?
Yeah.
He had an experiencer on that, has encounters with Greys, and the guy was talking about blood types. And he was like, the Greys supposedly, feed on, different bloods for, especially like cattle for copper consumption and things like that. but he was saying like O negative or O type blood is like very they want to go after that. And that's what
Really?
I have, right? And he was like, my recommendation is do not go into a national park with O type blood by yourself. You'll never come out.
Wow. You know what's strange? I'm turning 36 in literally 2 days. I have no idea what blood type I am.
Oh, really?
I should probably
I
know that.
had to know. So mine, with being O negative, in the military, so I'm a universal donor, but that's all I could get. So I can't get any other blood but that. So on my uniform, on my boots, on my collar, I had to wear a bracelet. Everywhere it was O negative, O negative, O negative. So if something were to happen to me, they know automatically, like, get this guy what he needs because, that kind of thing. But it's one of the most rare blood types there is.
Man, it does make you think.
Yeah.
Like, are they more attracted to specific blood types? And I've heard that before too. And I have no idea because you think about how many people have, they have abduction stories or they
Mhm.
get like alien stories where they're being abducted or they're having conversations with aliens or going to different spacecrafts and stuff like that while they're in their dreams or in
Mhm.
some kind of trance state.
Sleep paralysis. Yeah.
I'm like, fucking beam me up. It's my time. Give me something, like let me experience it.
Yeah. Have you seen that Pixar movie Elio yet?
No, I haven't.
Oh man, you got kids. You got to watch that one.
I
He's
know.
he's so excited about getting abducted by aliens. Like it's like his whole goal, and it finally happens. It's a fun movie.
Oh, I got to check it out.
Yeah.
Yes. So the always have been here theory. I dig it.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
there is the time travel twist, the future humans coming back
Yeah.
here now, of course.
Yeah.
Um,
That's like Jonathan Masters, I think is his like the big guy that talks about that.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
Yeah.
I've heard and maybe there are variations of this story, but I hear that the little grays actually are us in the
Us.
future and they essentially their bodies morphed because they didn't need to eat, they didn't need all the things that we need to do and they morphed and evolved into this like very slender gray looking creature, very
Mhm.
hairless and
Yeah.
and now they're back from the future because they can't reproduce.
Right. Yep.
That's the story I know about it, but
Oh yeah, that's P47, P52s. Yeah.
wow. So the time travel twist, the consciousness trip, the mind projections. And see, I want to sit here and say that I believe in one of these. I wish I could narrow it down because
Yeah.
there's like 3 of them that I'm like, yeah, probably,
Yeah. Yeah. I had so many people comment on that. They're like, all of them.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So the consciousness trip, mind projections, aliens might not be things or beings, but experiences. And I want to talk about that here for a second. There is a book that I'm reading right now, and it dives literally right into that kind of
cool,
stuff.
cool.
There's this book and it's an old book, like it came out back in '68.
Yeah.
But Carlos Castaneda, The Teachings of Don Juan. And basically, he is the Carlos, the guy who's writing the book. He's documenting all of his experiences with this shaman, like this Native American shaman, and it's from the Yaquis. But anyway, so he goes up and he's like, I want to know what you know. I know you seem like such a fascinating individual and you look like you know some things and I want to learn from you. So he literally dedicates like 5 or 6 years of his life just following this guy and learning everything from him. Well, come to find out, I thought that it was going to be not what is going on. I'm going to be real with you. I had really no idea what I was getting into. I just knew that it was a highly regarded kind of spiritual book. And you come to find out that this guy, the Don Juan, he's actually learning a lot of this through different psychedelics. So he's learned it primarily from peyote. And he believes that there is in his mind, he knows and has experienced talking to the spirit of peyote, which he calls mescalito. And he believes he's like, look, if Mescalito likes you, it's going to be a fun trip. He'll play with you. Maybe he'll give you some knowledge, whatever. If he doesn't like you, you're going to fear for your life more than you ever have. Like one of those kind of situations. And at first, the Native American guy was like, yeah, I don't know if you should try this. Like, first of all, you're not Native. Like
Hmm.
this is a native thing. I don't know how he's going to take to you, kind of thing, you know?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And but anyway, long story short, he ends up going on this journey, trying the peyote, trying this other thing that's called devil's weed, which I don't know what is, to be honest with you.
Is it like an ashwagandha or not? What's the not ashwagandha? So I can't
Um,
remember that other one. It's like a
it's
DMT.
it's some kind of root that you have to literally
Interesting.
dig out of the ground, and you have to
Yeah.
wait until it gets to like 18 inches. The root has to get like 18 inches, and then you have to,
Yeah.
it's like super ceremonial. You have to do dances around it and chanting, and
Yeah.
you know, it has to be
I think
dug
I
on
think I
a,
know what you're talking about. Yeah.
yeah, it has to be dug out on a specific day. And it's very fascinating, the
Yeah.
whole process. But one of the craziest things that I just read in there is that he'll take like these little lizards, like the little anole or anole lizards, whatever, just the regular lizard.
Yeah.
And what he'll do is that he'll dip this lizard in this like type of paste that is made with that plant, with that
With
root,
that root,
right?
yeah.
And he'll dip the lizard into it. He'll sew, well, before he dips the lizard into it, he sews up the mouth of one lizard and then sews the eyes shut of another lizard. And it's super like ceremonial, like not
Yeah.
gonna lie to you, like it is some straight up sorcery.
Yeah, right.
But he's literally sewing up their mouth and sewing up their eyes, and then he rubs them in this paste. And then what you do is that you take the lizard that is covered in this paste that is now casted onto him, and
Yeah.
you press him up against your temple, and whatever question that you ever wanted to know,
Yeah.
like whatever you can even imagine, you will get the answer through a series of like psychedelic trips. And
Interesting.
and at first he's like, I don't know if I believe this stuff. This is really fucking weird. You know,
Mhm.
you're sewing mouths shut, you're dipping them in this paste, and now
Right.
you expect this lizard to
Why does it got to
communicate
be a
with me?
lizard? Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, super strange. And he ends up experiencing the answer. Like he had no
Crazy.
idea how this answer could have come to him. It showed him literally scenes of how these things happened. And so anyway, long story short, I'm just so fascinated by all the different ways to get information. And, you know,
Right.
like
Yeah.
that's what I'm crazy about. I
Yeah.
want to know all
Yeah.
the different kind of modalities.
Yeah. And I think I think we're getting to a place we've been so suppressed as humanity. I feel like for a long time that was our norm, and it just has gone away, and I think we need to get it back.
Yeah, it used to be a lot more natural to communicate with your ancestors or
Right,
you
yeah.
know, stuff like that. And you know, I just feel like yeah, a lot of people have just that maybe they found comfort with convenience and comfort with, you know, somebody else cooking their food and somebody else
Yeah.
cooling down their house, and you know what I mean? There's nothing
Mhm.
but convenience nowadays, and unfortunately, I think that it's to a lot of people's detriment.
Yeah, technology, convenience, institution, like all of it is just yeah.
What are your thoughts as far as what the aliens or the orbs could be? Like, do you think that there's? I'm not gonna lie. Whenever I first started,
Yeah.
I wanted to believe that there was a physical element to all of this,
Yeah.
right? And maybe
Yeah.
there is, but I'm less convinced of that now.
I mean, I definitely think there's the physical aspect of it. If I were to like take those seven, the the extraterrestrial out of this world Earth, I feel like is a grand possibility, right? It just kind of is what it is, given the amount of universe that there is, galaxies, stars, planets, yada yada yada. Have they found a way to get here that we just don't know yet? Very, very possible. Who knows? The interdimensional theory is crazy, but we only see what I can't remember what it is, but like we only can see on the spectrum of light only so much, and there's tons of stuff that we can't see physically in our own periphery or vision.
Yeah,
So
it's
who
a
knows what's
fraction of 1%.
yeah, it's tiny. So who knows what's going on out there? And then the always been here just seems like it could, like a lot of people are saying, what's going on in the oceans are just they've always been here. And
Yeah, have you ever seen the
yeah.
base off of California that Google Maps covered up?
I have seen that, yeah. And they tried to smear it out
Yeah,
at some point. Yeah.
you're like,
There's another one that almost looks like the Millennium Falcon up in like the Baltics are up there.
Uh-huh.
That one's pretty crazy too.
Dude, it's like, first of all,
Yeah.
I'm shocked that they even allowed that on Google Maps or Google Earth in the first place.
Right.
But then people start discovering it, and then they're just like, nope, you didn't see that. We're gonna blur it out now. And
Yeah.
it makes
Yeah.
me wonder, like, were there some certain calls to the government, maybe to Google Earth, that said, look, you got to blur that shit out. That's supposed to be a
Yeah.
secret, and you're snooping a little bit, and everybody else is starting to get curious.
Yeah. I think we just need to get more curious. We just need to keep asking questions. We need to keep pressing. We need to keep doing it. Like, I think more than ever in the last few decades, I think in this time that we've been in, like, it's been pretty awesome. Just seeing everything coming out and more people coming out, and just keep pressing, keep asking questions. Try to figure it out and experience for yourself too. Like, that was a big thing with me is, people are like, I want to believe in this and that. And I was like, well, I know it's kind of weird, but go out there and just try to experience it. Like, when I first started doing CE5, it was weird. It's out of your element. It's out of your comfort zone. It's not something you're normally doing. But here I am. It's St. Louis, Missouri. It's not anything special, but they're very real, and they're right there. I've got them on camera. They're not satellites. I have a satellite tracking app. I have a flight tracking app. I can see when Delta's around and where it's going, and the flight number and the trajectory. I could see it's came from Minnesota and it's going to Nashville. I can see all that. I can see helicopters. I can see small plane stuff. And when that comes up, it's none of those things because I have all of that technology with me. And it's like it interacts with you. So it's like it's connected to your consciousness. And that's the biggest part. So when you're like, hey, was that like what's going on up there? And it'll be like just start getting brighter, like I just posted one a few days ago, like it came down and just goes and gets huge bright. And that's after me saying, like, hey, can you glow up for me? Can you and then it does it.
Yeah,
So
it's so unreal seeing it in real time,
Yeah.
and seeing people document all of that too. Like, just moments before you ask for it, and then all of a sudden it puts on the greatest light show of all time. Like,
right, yeah,
yeah,
and comes out of nowhere too. Like, you'll have a frame, with your I use this all the time. It's just an IR camera, but you'll have your frame, and there's nothing there, and it'll literally just dissolve into view, and come across the sky, or it'll shoot across the sky, and then you'll see it literally dissolve out too, which is pretty cool. And
Man.
again, none of the, like, people will comment and be like, that's a satellite, and I'm like, first of all, satellite, if you look at the video, these lights are below the clouds. I don't know any satellite that's hanging out below clouds.
No.
Secondly, I have tracking for that, and I have the airplane, and obviously this one was in a triangle formation, so it's three of them, and they're just kind of moving along with each other.
Yeah, and I tell you what, dude, like I've downloaded that satellite app as well, just to kind of dispel any negativity about what we're seeing.
Yeah.
And it, shockingly, maybe it was just in the portion of, on the portion of Earth that I was sitting at, satellites don't come across the sky extremely often, as often as these orbs are coming. Like,
and people are like, it's the International Space Station. I was like, the chances of you seeing that, because it's all over the place. Like, the app will show me that it's like below Antarctica or something, sometimes, it's not anywhere close.
Yeah, exactly. And you're like, all right, well, not a helicopter, not a plane. I don't hear any sound. It's actually eerily, spookily quiet outside whenever you're seeing this. And yet we don't know exactly what it is. I mean, and I think that there's a lot of people that maybe want to assign that that's an alien, and maybe it is. But it also,
or an angel,
but it
or
also
demon.
Could be anything else, like, I think that it's fascinating how people are able to telepathically communicate with them. And obviously you're not going to be able to telepathically communicate with anything that's flying up in the sky. You're not going to be able to telepathically communicate with a star, or, you know what I mean? Like, it seems that these are the things that are given reaction to whatever your curiosity may be.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I know some people, like you just brought up, some people like to get real weird with it, and they say that it's demonic and all this. I'm like, why do we jump right to that though?
Yeah, people, especially within, a more religious background, anything that is outside of the dogma of what they're taught is demonic. It's if Christian faith, it's a demon; in a Muslim faith, it's a jinn, whatever you want to call it. But it's outside of their context, and because it doesn't fit there, it must be demonic. Um, and I just tell people, I'm like, people come in my comments. I've made multiple videos about people that use scripture to say, well, this is why, like Satan disguises himself as an angel of light. Well, let's put that in context. Okay. Paul was saying that to the church of Corinth, which was absolutely corrupt as a mofo. And he was talking in context about false teachers. That scripture has nothing to do with orbs of light in the sky.
Yeah.
So what else you got? And then, someone will talk about, principalities, in the air and things like that in Ephesians. And so they come up with all of these examples. And what I say is, like, when I'm out there, I don't feel any fear. It's peaceful. It's calming. The only thing I really feel when they appear is love. Like, that's what I feel.
Yeah, and you hear so many people, even like military whistleblowers, they'll go out there and they'll say, I felt nothing but absolute love, almost like a motherly love from some people that will say it. And I'm like, yeah, I don't know if a demon is inspiring love in you, like that seems counterintuitive.
Yeah. And I like to go on the back patio at the end of the night. Like, I do it pretty often. It is a chill moment for me. Even if I don't see anything, it's still amazing. Like, people don't realize what it's like to lay back on a chair, like literally find one of those zero gravity chairs and lay back as much as you can and just stare at the sky.
Oh,
watch what that will do to your psyche and your anxiety and your stress. Even if you go out there and say, you know what, I'm not even going out here with the intention of meeting an orb or whatever you want to, what they are, just stare at the sky. And do it for a month, as much as you can on a clear night, and come back to me, and I guarantee you will be a different person. I don't know what it does. It calms you.
I tell you what, that is so strange that you even mentioned that, talking about synchronicities. Over the past couple of months, it's been a pretty hard, like, personal endeavor for me. There's just been a lot of dominoes that have fallen, and you're trying to pick up the pieces of yourself just so you can identify what reality is through all of it.
Yeah.
And just the other night, I went to go walk the dog outside, and I live in an apartment, and there's a little dog park that's right on side of the apartment. I always take him out there, and I went to go walk him out there, and there was just, man, I just had so much stress and so much anxiety, and everything was just like on my shoulders, and you know that feeling, and it's a shitty feeling. And then all I did literally was just look up in the sky and be like, oh, okay, it's not that bad, because this is still out here. Like, that was just a weird thing that I just thought, like, this still exists apart. No matter what happens, the sky, the stars, the orbs, all this kind of stuff will still exist.
Yeah.
And there's a comfort to that, you know?
Absolutely. Yeah, for sure. I love stargazing. I remember, again, like, going back to the military, we were in training. I think we were in like Wisconsin or whatever, and we had barracks we could live in. And I remember I would always take my sleeping bag and things like that, and I would actually go and sleep in the back of a truck. And I mean, these are like weird things I would do before I even was into it, and just stare up at the sky and fall asleep under the stars.
Oh, dude,
So
so
do
peaceful.
that in the Army. Yeah.
So peaceful. And you know what's crazy is that people would probably think that's crazy. But like 200 years ago, that was like the regular thing to do.
Totally regular thing. That's what I'm saying. We need to get back to the basics. Like, we jack some shit up. Like, get back to, feeling the earth, and, just going back to our roots and understanding, like, we've got this whole entire beautiful space. And for some reason, we've come up with capitalism, and we got to pay for it.
Yeah.
I don't understand when it's just there.
Exactly. I'm always curious, especially for people like yourself. Whenever you remember being a kid and looking up in the sky, Now, I remember looking up in the sky and being able to see all the stars and everything. And if you were ever lucky, maybe you saw a shooting star. Like that
Right.
was
Yeah.
like the highlight of a night, is seeing shooting
Yeah.
star, right? I never remember seeing orbs in the sky ever. And I was outside all the time as a kid,
Mhm.
always stargazing. And you know, I wasn't one of those kids that like. There's a lot of kids that are like, their parents tell them, "Well, you got to come inside whenever the street lights come
The
on."
street lights go on. Yeah.
And not me. Like we were outside playing hide and seek with the lightning bugs. We would smear their asses on our face, and we would glow in the
Yeah.
dark, and it was a fun thing.
We used to hit them with wiffle ball bats.
Hell
So
yeah.
bad.
Yeah.
The fireflies.
Yeah, and it's so strange.
I would never do that now. But
I never remember seeing anything like this in the
Yeah.
sky. So why do you think this is happening now?
I think it's intention. I think it's if you go out there with intention and open mind, you know, an open heart, you go out there, kind of go out there with childlike curiosity, you know, going back to our child days. I'll go out there when I first started, I was just like, I'm not afraid. Like that was my biggest thing. I was like, I'm not afraid. I don't have any fear. Like I'm more just entangled in excitement and curiosity, and I want to know you. That's kind of basically what I say, is I want to know you. And I've always had this weird like homesickness towards the stars too, which is very kind of crazy.
Right.
I'll say this to my wife, you know, I was like, I just feel like I belong up there. And she's like, just stop. And I was like, I'm just telling you, I feel like so drawn up there. It's redundant. It's crazy. Almost to the point where I'm like, I don't know. Well, it's a different story.
I mean, hey, we can
but
get as weird as you
yeah.
want here, dude.
Yeah. No, I know. But it's just, I don't even know where I was going with that. Oh, just having that kind of open-minded curiosity. And I think there's just more of like, you want to call it like the awakening, an awakening or whatever, that more and more people are kind of, people are sick and tired of the wool being pulled over their eyes by our government and whoever. Like the government tells me to do something, I'm doing the exact opposite.
Yes.
So, I mean, that's where I'm at right now. Even though I worked for the government for a long time, I'm going to do the exact opposite these days. So if they're telling me, you know, sunglasses are the most important thing you need to be wearing outside during the day,
Never gonna wear
I'm gonna
them.
be like, I love sunglasses for style. However, I really feel like the sun is absolutely 100% beneficial for us, and we need it. And stop telling me that I don't.
Oh, dude. I mean, they're still pushing sunscreen, which I think is an atrocity, personally. You know,
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
like so crazy. We are natural to this place. Why would we be hiding from it in that way?
There's so many things where I'm just like, it doesn't make any sense. And I think a lot of people are kind of waking up to it. I think, you know, when you get on social media, especially within 2026, where you see all the memes of like all my conspiracy theory friends are 10 out of 10, you know, everything that they said is coming to fruition. So
Yeah, it's a crazy time. And it's like, man, I almost, not that I feel special to be alive at this time, which
Yeah.
is strange to say, and I probably never would have said something like that, you know, 7 or 8 years ago. But I feel like times are getting stranger and stranger, and maybe one might be able to, you know, just chop that up to, well, social media is bigger now than it ever has been,
Right.
and a lot of people are in communication now to where you can get in contact with a complete stranger on the other side of the earth and see what they're experiencing more now than ever.
Yeah.
And so maybe the information is just more vastly available. I'm like, I don't know, man. There's a lot of craziness that is constantly going on. Every day there's, you know, supposedly
Can't keep up. Yeah.
supposedly they're going to be releasing a lot of UFO files here in a few days, which I'm really looking forward to if that happens. I mean, I don't know. I've been waiting on the Epstein files for quite a long time.
Yeah,
but
right. If they release those files, I don't know what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna have to like, I mean, stop work for at least a week and just call in sick or something, because I'm really gonna have to dive into those.
Yeah.
Because I'm gonna.
Yeah, I'm curious to see what's going to happen. From what I hear, there are certain people within the government that have looked at them and they said that there's going to be people that freak the fuck out whenever they hear about it. And I'm sure that there's going to be some fear mongering with it. Like this was kind of, in my opinion, it was always their plan to push it in a fearful way. just to go back to, what was the president? Nixon or one of them that said, if we could only have an alien invasion, maybe all of the world's countries would come together as one. Right.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, so we need a common enemy. That's exactly what we need. Yeah. Whenever I don't even trust my own damn country that I live in.
Yeah. My like, if the aliens were the enemy, they would have already done what they, you know what I'm saying? Like, why now?
Why wait?
Why now? And, people are like, well, you push this whole alien agenda, it's going to cripple and topple the, religious institutions, and then the world's going to go to hell in a handbasket. And I'm like, well, kind of, religion's already caused a lot of hell in a handbasket. You think about a lot of shit that goes on because of religion,
100%. I mean, what's going on right now, it has a great deal to do with religion, with Israel and all that other shit that's going on. I don't even pay attention to any of it anymore. Honestly.
I mean, in the Middle East, like, the Muslims kill each other more than themselves over just stupid stuff more than anything, like the Sunni and the Shia, and they're fighting over who's bloodline and who's not, and things of that sort. And then you got Catholics versus Protestant Christians and Baptist Christians. I mean, it's just like religion has caused all kinds of division and tribalism and all kinds of stuff, and that's what we don't need. And I feel like like Buzz Aldrin talked about this when he was up in the spaceship, when he was looking down on Earth, and he was like, he had kind of this spiritual aha moment where he's like, you don't see any dividing lines, you don't see country borders, you just see us. And I think that's a lot of what I think is happening, is that kind of expanded consciousness, the awakening of more and more people to just kind of see us. And I feel like us right now, we're going to blow each other up, and we don't need that.
Yeah, for sure. That doesn't need to happen. And I'm in total agreement with you as far as the religions have caused a lot of atrocity in the world, and all the religious wars and for religious relics. And you hear about 9/11, and supposedly there was ancient relics that we went over into the Middle East to find.
Dude, I heard that, I don't follow her or anything, but I watched like a Candace Owens episode about that. I was just very intrigued. I was like, what? What is happening? But yeah, I mean, just institutions in general, big oil, and big oil doesn't want us to, free energy comes around, that sucks for them. So, they're going to cause a lot of strife. I feel like in America, the food that we eat, the drinks that we consume, the products we put on our skin only make us sick, so that big medicine can benefit from it. I mean, You want me to get into it, I get into it,
Oh, no, I'm right there with you. I feel the same exact way. It seems like a very, very controlled thing that they're quite worried about if there isn't enough wool pulled over the eyes of the masses. Mm-hmm. And that's what causes my ears to perk up. I'm like, you got to do all of these things in order to keep us down. What if we didn't have those? What would happen? What are you so scared to happen? Yeah. Because anybody with any kind of logical mind, you'd be like, yo, we're stronger if everybody in the world is a superhuman. Right? Like that just makes more sense. Maybe we can evolve a little bit more, and we can get out of the need for war, and we can, try and find a way to work together. But for some reason, let's poison the food, let's poison the water, let's poison the air, let's poison their minds with all the useless bullshit that they watch on TV. Yeah. And it's like, man, they're really trying hard to just lull us into a sleep, and it makes you wonder.
It does. Yep, it certainly does.
Yeah. So anyhow, look, towards the end of a show, we always do a tarot reading, if you're okay with that. It's just a one-card pull.
Yeah. Do it.
And it's
I've never had one done for me before, so you're the first one.
Really? All right. Yeah. Well, this is mainly for it encompasses basically the energy of the entire show. It's kind of a fun thing that we always do towards the end of a show.
Yeah, love it.
And it's so interesting that we were just talking about everything we were just talking about, because we pulled the 9 of Swords card. If you can see her there, she's sitting up in her bed. Her hands.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, her face is in her hands. Like she just can't believe what she just, dreamed about or had a nightmare about or whatever. But then there's 9 swords that are hanging above her head, and literally the card stands for anxiety and worry. So,
Wow.
um,
Wow.
it says, an anxious mind leads to restless nights. Explore how you handle worry and stress to transform its impact. A challenging and fraught card, the 9 of Swords opens the floodgates to anxious thoughts and worries that keep you up at night. The figure on this card sits upright in bed, alone in darkness, as 9 swords dangle ominously above her head. Are these swords real, or are they imagined worst-case scenarios? The blanket that covers her depicts red roses, symbolic of love, showing that there is compassion surrounding her if she would only uncover her eyes and see.
Dang, that's cool.
Wow, that's kind of
I
spot
like that.
on.
Yeah.
Man,
That's really
so
cool.
interesting. And just thinking about, the nature of the world and everything that they're really trying to do to just lull people into this fear,
Yeah.
into this low vibration. And
Yeah.
it's so obvious because never in the history of history, I believe, have the American people, but probably the people all over the world have been almost like cursed with so
Yeah.
much negative information that is constantly dropping in the
Yep.
news, and to
Yep.
where it's gotten to a point where nobody believes anything anymore. We don't like. I'm sorry if the government came out and absolutely said that this UFO situation was real, aliens are real. We've had conversations with them. People are still going to be in the background like, yeah, but what about the Epstein files? It's like, we don't know
100%.
what the fuck to believe. We don't know
Yeah.
what to get excited about anymore because
Yeah.
everything seems like it's a co-op.
Yeah. Yeah. And
Or a
I'm all
psyop,
for,
rather.
I'm all for, the disclosure and stuff. I kind of hate that it's this administration that it could potentially be, but whatever.
Yeah, no, I feel the same
It's
way.
like, is it gonna, if it's told by them, is it gonna be, are people gonna buy into it, or are they just gonna say cover up, it's distraction, yada yada yada, and they're just not gonna believe it, and then we're gonna go right back into another season of what is this?
Exactly. And I'm definitely one of those people. I don't need the government to tell me that something
Nope.
is real. Like,
Yeah.
I'm sorry, we kind of been waiting ever since we first heard the story about Roswell back in the 40s. And it makes you wonder, like, all right, if they're trying to come out and say that it's happening now and we're going to release all this stuff, allegedly, we'll see. If they truly do, it makes you wonder, have they been wargaming this story since Roswell and possibly before? Because they were real hesitant. I mean, they literally put people in loony bins who used to believe in aliens and UFOs and stuff like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's like, why now? Of all the times, especially with this meme of a cabinet that we have,
I
and
know, it's crazy.
I
Yeah.
mean, they're all corrupt in my opinion, but this one's just the funniest, most obvious like clown show of all time.
It is for sure. Yeah, I'm kind of again with the like I love history, and on Instagram I'm kind of getting people up to speed about like why are we talking all this UFO stuff now? But let me take you all the way back. And I'm going through the projects of US government. So, Project Sign and Project Grudge and Project Blue Book. I just talked about Project Twinkle. I'm going to talk about Project Moondust. I'll talk about ATIP, the OSAP. Like, I'm going to talk about all these things about throughout history. The government has investigated these, the UFOs. Why? Why have they done this? Why have different programs looked into it seriously? Why other programs have looked into it to build up stigma and build the narrative? Why have other programs, looked into it for technology? Like all these different things. But also, if there's not a there, why classify stuff? Why redact stuff?
For
Why hold it all
decades.
back for decades? So if there's nothing to see here, folks, then just do it. But they won't.
Yeah.
And I don't need anybody. Yeah, I'm the same with it. I don't need anybody to tell me because I feel like my mind's pretty set on it. And I don't know. Maybe one of these days somebody's going to knock on my door and be like, "What are you doing with all these orbs?" But I don't know. I don't see him as all that often. I'll be like, I don't know.
Yeah, I feel the same way. I mean, and it's strange too because I come out to Texas. I live right in the Houston area in Texas right now. And whenever I'm out here, I hardly ever see orbs. There's just so much damn light pollution. I mean, you're lucky to see 10 stars in a night.
Yeah.
And then I go out to Louisiana, out in the country, and you can see so much. I actually bought one of those Psionics Aura Pro cameras.
Oh, yeah,
to be
yeah. Those are
able
great
to-
cameras. Yeah.
To be able to document and be able to shoot
Yep.
some footage and everything, because I mean, believe it or not, I got people that are close to me that don't even believe that that's a real thing. And I'm
Yeah.
like, dude, I'm going to show you. And so I got
Yeah.
so many videos, and I'm like, what's that? What do you think that is right there? I mean, and literally, sometimes I'll get an orb that is flying right next to an airplane. So you can tell
Yeah.
the difference between what's what, right?
Yeah. I've made
And-
videos about orb versus airplane. Totally different things.
Totally different. And the crazy thing is that you can take those videos and download them to your phone, send them to your computer, whatever you want to do, and you can zoom in all the way.
Mm-hmm.
These are not physical objects.
Yeah.
They are, I mean, Dana Kipple, I believe she talks
Yeah,
about them being plasma.
Yeah. I love her. She's great.
She's
Yeah.
amazing. Love her. Some people say that they're just like kind of orbs of consciousness. Maybe those are just the vehicles that they allow us to see. Maybe they
Mhm.
have some kind of,
Yeah.
they're not invisible, but it makes you wonder,
Yeah.
like,
Well,
man,
I've heard stories where people have been in groups where one person will see it and the others won't. Or, you know, a couple will see them and others won't, simply because of intention. Like if you go with the intention of like, you know, being an a-hole and skeptical and yada, 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 then you're probably not going to see anything.
wow. Yeah, it's I tell you what, it is super strange. Just last year, I go camping for my birthday every year. And it's my favorite just to go camping. I want to light a fire. I want to stare up at the sky all night. That's all I want to do.
Yeah.
And so just last year we went camping. I took the kids and my nieces and my nephew, my sister came too. And so we had this huge tent that fits like 15 people or whatever.
Mhm.
And I was the last one to go inside the tent for the rest of the night. And I was sitting out by the fire and I looked up and I said, man, it would just be so cool. I said, I don't even care if you show an orb for me. I just want the kids to be able to see it.
Yeah.
I didn't see
Yeah.
anything all night up until this point. And literally, like not even a minute later, I'm seeing orbs go left and right, north, south,
Mhm.
east, west. They're coming from all directions. And I tell the kids, hey, come out here, come look. And I'm like, do you see that up there? Do you see it's moving? And I'm like, that's not an airplane. That's not a helicopter. It's not a satellite. It's nothing that you're used to seeing. And you can see that they maneuver in the sky very differently than anything else would anyway.
Yeah.
And everybody's like, well, what do you think it is? And I said, well, it's unidentified. It's flying, and it seems to be an object.
Be an object.
And they're like, so it's UFOs, it's aliens. I'm like, I don't know if it's aliens, but it's something that, you know, I don't know how to explain it. And what was really strange is that I asked my sister to come out of the tent and look at it that night. And she goes, oh no, I don't believe in that shit. And I'm like, you don't need to believe it. Just look up. Like,
just see it.
Just come see it. Strange enough, she comes out of the tent because she went to go in the car to go get her phone charger, right?
Yeah.
The whole time, I mean, it was like 3 or 4 minutes that she was out there, you know, going and charging up her phone and all this stuff. And then she went back in. The whole time she was outside of the tent, not a single orb.
Yeah.
She goes back into the tent and it's a full on light show again. I'm like, so it really does have a lot to do with somebody being open-minded to this.
Yeah. I think it totally does. Yeah.
So crazy. I just love it. I'm here for it.
Yeah.
So, all right. Well, look, Vince, this has been so much fun. Thank you for coming on to the show.
Yeah, I'm glad it was a live show. That's super cool.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah.
You know, we do these
Thanks
every Wednesday.
Thanks to Britt and White Boy Wizard and Tibby Two Toes and Taylor and Zoom user and Laura. Thank you. That's who I can read right now. I can't see anybody else.
Yes, thank you, Initiates, for showing up. It's been a fun ride. But if you would, Vince, could you let everybody know where they can find your show and everything that you're affiliated with, sir?
Yeah, I mean, you can find me on Instagram, UAP Pod, just UAP_pod. You can find me on YouTube, which I've been getting more into, doing more long form stuff. It's a slow burn, but it takes a lot more to do. But yeah, that's where you can find me.
Hell yeah. All right. Well, look, send those links over to me if you don't mind, and I'll put them down in the show notes where I put this everywhere. This will be going up on all podcast platforms. It'll be going up on Patreon. It'll be going up on YouTube at some point. And so, yeah, anybody that's interested in this kind of stuff, go give Vince a follow over there because he's tracking it all. And I can tell you got a fire that is burning to learn. And I'm here for all of it, man.
Thanks, man. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you. So, all right. Well, look, we're going to bus up out of here. Thank you, everybody, for joining tonight. And I do want to remind everybody, if you want to be a fly on the wall in these conversations or you want to be able to join in, go to patreon.com/metamystics. That link is down in the show notes below and sign up for the Wonder Wednesday tier. That'll give you access not only to all the shows completely commercial free, access to the shows a few days, if not even a week or more in advance, and you'll be able to join the community, but you'll be able to join every Wednesday night for the live show, in which every time we have an awesome guest, Vince included. This has been a fun ride. So just wanted to throw that out there. But look, if Vince came here and he taught you anything, it's that you don't know what you don't know. So don't just get weird.